Hi, I'm Matt from HockeyReviews.ca, and this is the hard to read but Bauer Nexus Sync. You can kind of see it right there. This is their custom black color, so it's a little bit harder to actually see what it is, but it looks absolutely amazing in person, and the rainbow effect is really cool on the details there. But anyways, this is the Bauer Nexus Sync hockey stick review, and I've had this for a while. I also paid for this, unlike some of those people. It's now a running joke with Bauer sticks, but this is the successor to probably one of my favorite sticks ever, the Bauer Nexus Geo, and specifically that stick, I loved it because of the puck feel on it, not necessarily because of the shooting, but the balance is really good and puck feel was excellent. So we'll see what the Bauer has done with the Sync and see if they could improve on that Geo and compare it to some other really good sticks that we have here. Also, this is obviously a custom stick. This has my favorite texture grip on there, as you can see, as well as the color. So this was through my Bauer custom. It is still an 87 and a P92M, but one of the big difference between Bauer sticks now is that they come in this extended size. So like CCM sticks, where CCM sticks were longer and you cut it down, the Bauers are now longer as well and you cut it down, where before Bauer was one of the shorter sticks, or basically 59 inches. They say 60, but when you measure it, it ended up being like 59. The CCMs were like 61 and a bit. Now they're both basically the same and you have this extra length on it. So I cut it down to end up being the same size as basically everything else. And that's what we have here. But before we jump into this review of the Bauer Nexus Sync, if you want me to review any specific gear or specific sticks, I always get people asking me about sticks, so grab a specific one. Please just shout out to the companies on social media, let them know you want to see me review their products. Greatly helpful in that sense. It helped with True Skates in the past. So doing that really helps me out there because I can't buy every stick that's on the market, unfortunately. I would love to, but that budget is just not there. Otherwise, if you want to support the channel and you're buying hockey equipment anyways, if you're in Canada, check out Hockey Supremacy. If you're in the US, check out Pure Hockey. Clicking those links in the description gives me a kickback. It helps support the channel, so I can buy more gear and do more reviews. Otherwise, if you want to support the channel, check out Patreon and buy me a coffee. Everything through those links always comes back into the channel, so I can make more content and do more videos. And before we begin this review is going to be a little bit kind of cheaper than some of the other reviews I've done recently. I have too many sticks to review, like this one, and like a bunch of other sticks I have, and other gear I should say in general, that I don't have time to do all the extra filming I do to try to do B-roll and stuff like that, and show the shooting and show the balance and everything. So this one's gonna be just kind of a little worse for that, but I'm doing it just to try to get these reviews out because it's a backlog and I just have too much hockey going on to be able to put the effort in editing all this stuff because it takes a really long time. So I apologize for that in advance. So the absolute most important thing about this stick is the graphics, and on these graphics, well, let's just say this stick is absolutely gorgeous, but this is obviously the custom graphics, and I've had more compliments from this stick than I've had on any other sticks I've ever used. And yes, it is a custom one, so it kind of gets a little bit, it's like a little cheating because it's not as obviously common as the one down here. But this stick, especially on like social media and stuff, with that crazy, it's almost like a chrome illusion. If people remember that DuPont color back in the day, it's almost like this chrome illusion look, and you've been seeing this kind of rainbow effect more and more in sticks. We've seen it on CCM sticks, we've seen it on the Novium that's here, and you see it here, but it's like almost even more so on this, and it just looks absolutely stunning. I have to say, I actually do like what Bauer has done with the stock stick with this, keeping that blue for the Nexus, but going with like that kind of bronze color. It's a pretty unique trait that they're having right now, and no other real stick is on the market. It reminds me a lot of some older generation sticks back in the day, but nothing has done it recently, and I think it still looks very good. But this custom one specifically looks absolutely fantastic, and my producer had a couple blacked out Geos in the past, like this one specifically, and it is just blacked out, so you can see it's like kind of black and gray details, but it doesn't have that awesome kind of rainbow effect to it. It's kind of boring compared to what this stick is, and it really does look absolutely fantastic. So Bauer did a great job offering this as a custom thing. CCM has done it, I think, recently, a few of their sticks where it looks really good as well. And even True has a custom, it's for their goalie sticks. But this is an awesome looking color, and I really hope to see it more and more, but I want to give them credit for just how good this stick looks. So for tech on this stick, Bauer really hasn't done anything crazy different, really, from what anyone has talked about or can really see. It still has that ER spine on the back, which is a love or hate type thing. I really like how this feels, but other people just don't, so you can take it or leave it. The thing that Bauer added to this stick is something that you can't really see, but you can definitely feel it when actually using it, And that is their, like they said, it's injected with rubber or something. There's some rubber thing in it to make it more dampened and for better puck feel. And we'll talk about that in the puck feel section. But besides that, nothing crazy going on here. No new carbon weaves anywhere. Exact same as the Geo all the way through. Blades kind of the same idea in terms of like finish and everything like that, but the puck feel is a little bit different. We'll talk about that as well. But everything else is basically the same, and Bauer isn't going crazy. I do like how they did extend that stick length though. We mentioned earlier, it is nice of them to give that full length. So you can cut it down so those taller people don't need to go for a full custom stick. At retail, it will be that height. Nice, just a nice thing and CCM was doing in the past. It's nice to see Bauer copying CCM in that sense. For once also, where usually it was kind of CCM kind of did the other way around with like naming and stuff. So it's nice to see Bauer following that lead because it was a great choice by CCM. So Bauer has still absolutely killed this. And because the stick is a custom, it's a little bit different than retail, but Bauer sticks at retail are still simply the best for actual grip feel. It's always nice. It feels nice and thick. I say that, but the ADVs and like the agents and stuff are slightly different, and I found the sling different. But at retail, like for these ones, the grip does feel always nice and thick and solid, and something that they never really cheapened out on, I found, on their actual like stock retail sticks. Whereas some other companies definitely have had chipping issues a lot more, and just it didn't feel as nice in the hands, and it felt thinner and just not as good. This is a good example. This Novium is a good example of kind of a version of that where the grip just doesn't feel as nice. CCM has definitely upgraded their grips in recent time, and Sherwood actually has been one of the better companies with grips for a while. So Bauer right here has always been the leader, and they still kind of are. And when we put that single layer Nash palm grip on there, and this is obviously that raised texture, but you can feel it everywhere when you kind of slide your hand up and down, and it feels really, really good. And I love this grip. And again, this is my Bauer custom stick, so this grip obviously isn't retail, but you're still going to get the very solid feeling grip at retail, which is just their normal gloss, as you can see on this Geo, and I've talked about that before and shown that off over and over again because it's just Bauer stock sticks. But I also really do love that Bauer offers these custom options on their website for the My Bauer stuff. I'm really disappointed that other companies kind of don't offer that. Bauer does offer some crazy options on there. You can do crazy full custom sticks, or you can do something like this, which is kind of in between. So you have nice paint options, you can have nice texture grip options like that, and then you can also do some crazy blade shapes and everything like that. This one is just a P29 or 92 max, which isn't that crazy or anything, and you can put your name bar on there obviously as well, but that isn't a crazy blade or anything like that, but you can get some nice blades on there like Line A Pro, the bend curves and everything like that. So it's awesome that Bauer has that customization ability still there, and it's something I wish more companies did, and it's something that kind of gives Bauer a little leeway in terms of the retail market. Obviously you can go to like pro stock hockey sticks and do crazier customs than what this was like is, but the fact that this is an option and they're doing it still is huge, and I'm a huge fan of it because this stick in this model would not exist at retail, so I wouldn't be able to get it. But as for grip and everything, easily the best retail grip still there is, and it feels absolutely awesome. So shaft shape on the Sync is still that ER spine, and you can kind of see it kind of right here. And Bauer's idea of that is basically it bows out so it fits into the palm of your hand better when you're holding a stick, and it kind of takes up some negative space and just holds your hand in place. And they said it grips better. A lot of people say that they can't grip this stick and they need the square shaft shape to grip sticks better, and they find it twisting on them and moving. I've never noticed that whatsoever when using this stick. I love the feel of this stick. It feels like it's nice and like fits in there really nicely, and it's comfortable. It's always been very comfortable. I also liked the STX stick that had the different extra edge basically right here that fit in the palm of your hands as well. This is kind of just moving that on a different edge, and I talked about this before, but I've loved this stick. I love the feel of it, and I've used it for a while. Like I said, the Geo is one of my favorite sticks for like puck feel and everything, and this felt really, really good to me. Now, the thing that I find kind of interesting is I'm not sure if this is the textured finish that's doing that, because again, this is like a little piece of sticker going through here, right, and adding these little bumps, and then the grip is sprayed on top. These two sticks actually feel pretty different in terms of holding them, specifically when you're looking for it too. The thing I noticed on this is this one feels like it is more concave than what this one is. So it feels like the edges go in. This one, the edges like still go in. You can kind of see this a little bit, like you can kind of see that angle a little bit, but it definitely feels like it's less than what is on the Geo. And when we pull up this little piece that I cut off, you can also see that concave edge right here. So you can see where that's going in, and that angle right there. The other side is flatter, and that is where the spine happens. The spine doesn't go all the way to the top, so you can't really show it off, but that spine does happen on that side, so hence why that side does seem like it's a little flatter. But the other part I noticed about the spine, and what I can kind of feel when I'm running my fingers along it, like specifically like this, and you do it like this, it feels like the spine on this one is more curved. Like this whole edge is more curved, and it kind of bows out. I don't know if it bows out more, but just feels like this change of, like this edge right here is just a more gradual change between this one, where this edge is still a rounded square kind of shape, but it's still, you can feel that edge a little bit more than what you can feel here. This just feels like it's more rounded off, so it's almost like they bowed it out more. If you look at them side by side, they look very close to each other, and it doesn't like look a massive difference, but I can feel in my hands that this one, especially right there, it definitely feels like it is a little like more rounded off, so a little more comforting almost in terms of how it would feel in your hands. I don't have like a precise measurement device or something to see this, and it's me just like feeling the difference. And again, I'm not sure if that is the grip that's doing that, or if the whole shaft shape has slightly changed, but it is the ER spine again, and I'm a huge fan of this design, specifically for feel and everything, but it is very polarizing, and some people will absolutely hate it. The shaft shape as well, when it goes to top, you can see how it's like fatter down here with that ER spine, and then it gets slimmer up here and becomes just a traditional kind of stick shaft shape up here. And it definitely feels more like a rounded square obviously up here, and it feels a lot more traditional. But this edge obviously is a lot more harsh than it is down here, since that edge is kind of bowing out more. So again, a unique shape on the Bauer stick. Now onto the weight and balance of this stick. And this is where Bauer is kind of weird, especially with the Agent. The Agent is so light, and it hits their target weight very close to what it is. This thing was supposed to be, I think 365 was the advertised weight of it. And obviously that's at like going to be their 59-inch type thing, like their original height for sticks, and not this full weight. But with this full weight, the stick was 391. And take this off, it was 7 grams, so we get 384 cut. Now, there is a few caveats there. One is this grip obviously is going to add weight as well. This textured grip is a sticker that goes throughout the whole thing, so that's going to add weight as well. You could add a few grams there, maybe bring it down to 370 something. Max blade height can add a few grams here or there too. It's not crazy off of what their advertise is. It's supposed to be 365. If you take away that grip, we're looking at about 370. So plus minus 15, it's kind of close. Now, it's not bad, but it's not crazy or game breaking or anything like that. But again, this isn't the Nexus Agent, which evidently is going to be coming out. It's just the straight up Nexus Sync. Like I always say about weight doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. It's all about balance. And the balance on this stick honestly has a lot to live up to, because I think the Geo, while it was one of the heavier sticks of like the last kind of generation, which is kind of a hard thing to say because CCM comes out with a stick every year, Bauer every 2 years, so their generations last longer than CCM. The Geo was kind of around 400 grams, and the weight and everything on this wasn't great or anything, but the balance was excellent. It felt very nice in your hands. The blade wasn't too light, so it didn't pop up on you, but it wasn't too heavy either, so it didn't like force the stick down. It didn't like cause any slower movements and stuff like that. It was a very well balanced stick overall, and it was very solid, and one of the reasons why I really liked it. We'll always have a hate thing for Bauer, but the durability on them wasn't awful either, so it was a decent overall package for what it was. Nexus Sync, I think, has kind of gone a little too, I'm not gonna say light, because its current weight isn't too light. It's just the balance of it is too a little top heavy for what I would prefer. Obviously, balance again is a personal preference thing, so some people are gonna love it, some people are gonna hate it. For me, I kind of know where that happy medium is for me, and I was bang on of the Trigger 5 Pro. Thing was way too blade light. They totally fixed it on the 6 and 7 as well. So this is kind of another case of that, where the weight is just a little too high up here, and you can't quite feel the blade enough. Now, I'm not sure if that is them doing something with that rubber stuff in there, they said, and somehow that ends up lightening the blade. Basically, there is just too much weight down over here compared to what is on the blade, so it ends up being a little blade light for my liking, and I've noticed having a lot harder time knocking pucks out of the air with this. Also, like poking pucks away from people, pulling pucks away from people, just because the blade is a little bit too light, especially when going back to the Geo. It is a lighter stick than the Geo, but the Geo just feels better balanced. And when using the Geo compared to this, you don't notice it being more sluggish or anything. Again, again, just feels better balanced. When I move my stick around, I don't feel like, oh, I would have had that if I had a little less weight. But you definitely do notice that on certain sticks. Like when I use a cheaper version of this, which is the TMP1, I definitely notice that more sluggish feeling because it's around 415 grams when going compared to this or even the Geo. So you can definitely notice that. I didn't notice that sluggish feeling with the extra weight on the Geo compared to the Sync, and that Sync was just, like I said, a little bit too light for my liking, so kind of disappointing in that sense. So puck feel is very, very important for this stick, and it's one of the reasons why Bauer does really well for sticks in the NHL and everything, is especially with Nexus and stuff, there is that softer blade feel that a lot of companies just don't offer anymore, especially at retail, so it's kind of disappointing. That's why I really like the Nexus Geo. I'm a huge passer, I'm a huge like breakout passing, hard, long passes, and that soft, dampened puck feel just feels amazing. Does it make your game better? Probably not, but it feels so nice when you're using it that I absolutely love it. And this stick has a lot to live up to in that sense. And while this doesn't really tell the whole story, it is a pretty dampened blade, and it actually feels more dampened than what the Geo was. So whatever they did with this whole rubber infused piece to make it more dampened and feel softer to the touch, it absolutely does when shooting the puck and everything. I almost want to say it's almost too damp, but I know that that's just because I love the Geo so much and I was so used to the Geo. Really, this puck feel on this is fantastic. And the blade feel is so soft and so dampened compared to other companies. They're basically offering a blade that no other companies right now are basically offering at the retail level. And so one, that's awesome that they're still doing it. And two, it really kind of leaves a spot open for them to make them unique enough. I've had a lot of people ask, well, is the Sync worth it? And we'll come to the conclusion later, but my whole thing was, how much does that blade feel matter to you? Because that's the important part. Again, this stick feels amazing to make passes with, amazing stick handling. It is a dampened feel, but it's not dampened to the point of dead. You always know where that puck is. You always know where that puck, how much it's going to like bounce off your stick and everything. You always can feel the transfer through your hands. It does have less vibrations through shots and everything like that too. But that puck feel is just unmatched on the market right now. Bauer did continue the line here and they made the Geo more dampened, which I don't think they really needed to do. But I almost feel like they needed to do something in terms of a marketing thing to be like, oh, this is why it's different than the Geo. The rubber insert or whatever in here does make it more dampened, so it is slightly different in the Geo from that standpoint of view. I don't know if that rubber thing is kind of on here and we'll see it in different applications, which would kind of be a cool thing where you could have a stiffer blade profile, but more dampened blade through the use of like that rubber or whatever it is. Warrior uses something called Vibex in their goalie sticks. I would love to see that apply to the player sticks and see if that works that way. But this definitely is still the king of dampened blades on the retail market. And for that reason, it definitely deserves to exist. And it definitely deserves for people to check out because that blade is so much softer and pingier than basically everything else there is. One thing I want to call out about Bauer sticks in particular, and something I find that they do really, really well, and something I notice when like actually passing a lot, is how thin the blade of the stick actually is. And you can see how real thin it gets kind of right here. And it's specifically on the heel. The heel is extremely thin, and it's something I notice a lot compared to this Sherwood right here, the Warrior right here, and not as much as the CCM. But passing with this, I've noticed this stick, and I shouldn't say just this stick specifically, all Bauer sticks with the P92 and P92M, that passing and saucing and getting the puck up in the air, like for really small adjustments and micro adjustment stuff, is really, really good on the Bauers. And I believe it's because of just how thin this blade is, and it's just easier to kind of get it up there and get it under, kind of flip it up and kind of do things with it. Versus on this one where I actually really do notice it's struggling a bit for the Sherwood specifically, a little bit the Warrior, not as much as the Sherwood, where saucing, passing and everything, you can do it, but you have to adjust to it more. It's harder to get it right down, where the Bauer is just really, really good with that. Another company that's really, really good with this is Pro Stock Hockey Sticks. I have a bunch of custom sticks of those that we'll be doing a lot of videos on in the future, but I find they're a lot thinner here too, and also extremely good to sauce with and make passes with and everything. I feel like CCM on this level, while this one is kind of a little bit thicker than what this one is, and it does look pretty thick overall, I haven't noticed as many issues when using this. Now, it might be because I use a lot of CCM sticks, so I'm just kind of more used to that. But definitely with these two, I definitely noticed a little bit of hesitation, and it takes me a little longer to get used to and to adjust to it. And I definitely noticed a little bit of struggling, especially compared to using Bauer sticks for those passes and making those plays. So that interesting slight difference in blade mold and how thin they get this right here definitely does make a slight difference, and it's something I have noticed over and over using sticks and practicing them in my basement as well as using them on the ice. Now, before we jump into shooting, if you want to help support the channel so I keep doing more reviews and making more videos and doing like actual stick reviews and not just reviews like in my basement, please check out the links in the description. If you're in Canada, it's hockey supremacy. From the US to pure hockey, clicking those links and making a purchase gives me a kickback to help support the channel so I can make more content and do more videos. Otherwise, check out Patreon and buy me a coffee. Everything that goes through those links always comes back in the channel so I can keep buying more gear and doing real reviews. I don't get sent any of this stuff really, so I have to buy it in order to make the real reviews and not just all help would be greatly appreciated. Now to really the most important thing on this stick, and that is shooting. And first of all, let's talk about this Warrior really quickly. This is Warrior's new mid kick, but in reality, it's basically a high kick stick. The Jet Speed is a hybrid, but really it's kind of like their mid. Tax is kind of the high kick. Bauer doesn't have a high kick anymore. The Supreme's gone. The mid is there. So mid is more like all these other ones. The Sherwood's now a low mid or something. It's basically a hybrid, and these ones are all kind of comparable. The other comparable would be the Alpha LX Pro, which I don't have. I never use on ice, so we have to ignore that. So even though this is a mid kick and technically the same advertised kick as what Nexus sticks are, it's not. So we'll get rid of this one right away because honestly, the Bauer just is a way easier release than what that is. So now giving some overview on the history of, I guess, the new Nexuses, starting with the Geo with this funky shape. I love this stick. I thought it was a very good balance stick. Shot okay, it wasn't that good. The FT3 at the time when it came out blew this out of the water for shooting, but I thought puck feel and balance on this stick was really excellent. So, and this improved quite a bit over the 2N Pro in terms of quick release and easy release and everything like that and shooting overall. So it was a good improvement in that sense and I was happy for it. But then we came on to the Jet Speed lines and they blew Bauer out of the water for shooting, just to put it absolutely bluntly. And well, I should say, but basically any CCM stick line of that. Now we come to 2 years after the Nexus Geo came out and we have the Sync, and we expect something improvements there maybe, and we get slight. It's so little. Like the improvements are slightly there for the Geo. It feels like it shoots slightly harder or just kicks like slightly easier and it's a little bit easier to release, but honestly it's not a big difference, and that's kind of disappointing. You kind of expected this to make a leap somewhere. They kind of did it in weight, in my opinion, kind of the wrong way, in balance, a little bit more dampened, but shooting wasn't like going from one to the other and being like, wow, this is a huge upgrade. This is totally worth it. This is like definitely the current generation of stick. It's just not there. It shoots okay. It shoots fine, but it doesn't shoot like a top end stick from one of the big companies. From what little I shot of the LX Pro shoots better than this. FT5 Pro shoots way better than this. FT3 Pro shoots way better than this does. So you have all these other sticks and you're kind of like, so what's the point of this one really? Because just frankly put, the shooting is not there. It's okay for everything, but it's not amazing at anything, and it never blows me away at all when using it. In fact, when I shoot with this stick, I often think, I wonder if I could have scored with that if I was using the Jet Speed or a Trigger or any like other newer sticks. So pretty disappointing in that sense. It doesn't mean that this is a bad stick. It just doesn't mean that it has that level of shooting ability as other sticks do, and you kind of would hope for Bauer's newest offering. Now, I have seen some people talk about how the Sherwood code is basically next gen, and while this isn't a review of the Sherwood code TMP Pro, I will say the shooting of this didn't blow me away either. It's basically on par with the Sync, maybe slightly better than the Sync, but it's not like crazy better, and they're interchangeable, to be completely honest. That isn't a knock against Sherwood, it's just not to the level of what this is and that LX Pro is. Is what it is. It's fine, but it's also gotten to the point where the only reason for me to really pick up this Nexus stick and keep using this Nexus stick, well, I guess it was the same for the Geo, is the puck feel. But the shooting is just like, it's now behind by enough, and well, this grip is also awesome, but it's behind now enough that I keep going back to other sticks like this because I just enjoy shooting more with them. The passing and stuff isn't as nice with these, but you have to pick what you want specifically, and for me, just the shooting is so much more enjoyable with the other ones. I feel like I kind of missed some opportunities using the Geo, so keeping with the Sync, I'm going to keep missing those opportunities, so it's slightly disappointing in that sense. And while this grip is absolutely amazing, and I love using it, and I love feeling it, I love feeling my hand slide up and down, especially with when you use Pro Stock palms, you have thinner palms, you can really feel it more and more, and it feels awesome. Like feedback it gives, the textured feedback I should say gives, it's excellent. I absolutely love it. The grip feels so nice, but because the shooting of this isn't so crazy good and amazing, you have other alternatives on there that aren't as expensive as a Bauer stick is, kind of like these right here. And I've talked about this company already in this video, and I talked about it in the past, but these are obviously Pro Stock hockey sticks, as you can see right there. These are a custom batch I did for myself. as you can see with my logo on it. And these are all different grip textures. So this has like a old Easton style Kevlar grip. It's a Warrior fishbone grip. And this is their Gorilla grip, which is little tiny gorillas. All this texture stuff is available in a custom stick, which, I mean, again, huge props to Bauer for doing custom in the first place at retail, because a bunch of companies don't do that. You can get these for a lot cheaper and you don't really lose out a whole lot on shooting for this. And you can get some crazy paint options and custom graphics options on this like these. And you can do some crazy curves just like the Bauer, but the price is just ridiculous compared to the Bauer. So, I mean, if I had to pick and I really wanted a grip stick with specific specs and everything I want, I'm going this route over the Bauer, just because you're not getting like crazy things with that Bauer. It's not blowing you out of the water compared to these, so why do it? And I also want to point out, while I am a stickler for grip, CCM has gotten a lot better with that too. So you can see the textured grip down here. Not as much as I like. I would like more of that textured grip everywhere, and I would like them to use a thicker grip, like spray overall, to get kind of, I think, the quality of what the Bauer is, because I still think the Bauer has a better overall grip, but this is still definitely there. And again, this difference isn't enough to make me keep going back to Bauer, so that should tell you something about that. Hopefully this review is helpful. The Sync is a good stick. It looks amazing. I don't think it is a real worthy successor to what the Geo was, and people are gonna hate the Geo. This still offers the best, I think, blade feel on the market by far, but everything else is kind of and it's hard to justify telling people to buy this if that blade feel isn't their number one priority, because honestly, there's just other better overall sticks out there, and for the price you can get like something comparable for way less, or you just CCM blows it out of the way for shooting. So you got to decide what you want. So thank you very much for watching this video. Hopefully it was helpful. Remember, subscribe to me on YouTube, follow me on Instagram and TikTok. Links are in the description. If this review was helpful and made you buy a competitor stick like Pro Stock Hockey Sticks or CCM or Sherwood, please let them know on social media that my review was helpful and push me towards them. Be greatly appreciated. Now, if you want to see more reviews and me review specific gear, like I have a ton of people telling me to review the ASV Pro, which I don't have my hands on, please let the companies on social media know. Let them say you want hockey reviews to review whatever it is. Be greatly appreciated and might help out. It's helped out in the past, so might help out in the future. If you're buying any hockey equipment and you're in Canada, US, check our links in the description to Hockey Supremacy in Canada, Pure Hockey in the US. Clicking those links and making purchase gives me a kickback, so I can keep buying gear and making more reviews. Otherwise, if you want to support the channel, you're not buying anything, check out Patreon, buy me a coffee. Everything that goes through any of those links always comes back in the channel, so I keep making more content and doing more videos. This stuff's really expensive. People want me to review basically everything that comes out, and I just honestly can't afford it. So it would be greatly appreciated if you did that, and it would help out. Thank you very much for watching, and take it easy.
You're watching HockeyReviews.ca.